Yo, YouTubers. My YouTube um, vloggers, schizophrenic personality kicks in, and this is kind of yeah, I'm going to do another speech, and it's not going to be as heavy as the last one, which I thought was brilliant. Deserve a Nobel Peace Prize for warning everyone about being screwed over by bent, bent Freemasons. Sure, that ruffled some feathers, that one, mate. But this is a bit more of a poignant message, right? And what it's about is one of my biggest complaints throughout my life, in my younger years and all kinds of things, right? Like when I was younger, I was kind of into art and, I was quite talented and things, but I loved playing football. I wanted to be a footballer, right? And you know what it's like, you got to work your way up the ladder. Didn't get a fair ride, it didn't happen, right? So I didn't sort of make the money I wanted to, and I didn't aspire to anything, and I didn't work hard in school. I left school, I didn't even get an A level or a GCSE or CSE or whatever they were called in art. I didn't get a single qualification in art, like guys, which is just ridiculous, isn't it? Scandalous. Because it was ruined. My school years were ruined once my football years were ruined. And over the years, people have done me head in. Like, because, including girlfriends. Because when I was like in a band and stuff and I was younger and I was into humour and exploring the art of music, really. I was more exploring the style of punk rock and that kind of heavy rock and that, but I wasn't really hell bent on making music. I'd have done a 9 to 5 job to make money. I'd have done a 9 to 5 job to make money. That's really all I ever really thought of. You can't be a footballer, or you can't do what you love doing, or you haven't got a wealthy relative who offers you a job or something. You know what I mean? Like other people just walk straight out of school into a career because their uncles own a company or something like that. It was nothing like that for me, mate. It was a bit of a slow climb, but I had a kind of vibe where, like my dad, for example, when I was a kid, when I was a young whippersnapper, I'm good at impersonations. I can do impersonations, people's voices. And when I was a kid, my dad used to be on my case saying, "You could be making loads. Why don't you get on the telly? Why don't you try and get on a talent show and do impersonations, right?" And if you go back and you look at anything in the 70s, I'm very like aware of dressing clothes. I like to down dress. I hate looking like razzmatazz or jazzy or colourful or attract attention with clothes. I always try and downplay it. Like, always wear black, for example, or I'm just not into colourful clothes and that way. And dressing up, if you know what I mean. Looking smart. I hate having to go to weddings and things because you got to wear a suit. I'm a proper tramp. Right, this is what I'm getting at. In my heart and soul, I've always thought I'm going to end up a tramp. I was going to end up homeless or living on the streets. Or I can't believe I'm still living in a flat now at 58 years old. You know what I mean? I'm still managed to keep hold of things and not get off my head and lose the plot. And it's as though everyone was disappointed that I wasn't trying to make money, right, guys? I was talented at doing the impersonations, right? And my dad was up the wall saying, "Why don't you could be making millions doing thousands or whatever." And what I used to think was, "Look, Dad, please take a look. You look at television, the variety back in them days in the 70s, new faces, opportunity knocks. What was the other one with what was that program called, man? With the talent shows, all the talent shows back in the 70s and stuff, right? Any kids were on them talent shows. If any kids made, because I was a kid at the time, you got to think of childhood stars, right? Any kids that made it back in them days, they had to wear big dicky bows and suits and everything. You know what I mean? Like smart clothes and stuff. And I swear down, that's the main reason in my head why I was like, I don't want to be famous doing impersonations. Imagine it, going on stage having to wear a dicky bow and a you know what I mean, and a suit and that. Like a person like me, a tramp, right? And I wonder like where that always came from in my mind, the back of my mind, why I thought, like most people aspire to want to be rich. The only reason I want to get rich is because a girlfriend or a wife is like pushing me and doing me head and saying, make some money, you could be, obviously a lot of men are like that, aren't they? Like Ahab to Jezebel or whatever. They just do what the wives want them to do or the girlfriends want them to do, which means they've got to keep up with the Joneses, get the latest kitchen, get the, get the, get a new toilet, new tiles because you want it to match the toilet roll kind of world, Hyacinth Bouquet and that. All those men out there who are slaving just to keep up with the fashions. And I've always had it in my head, I don't want to go there, you know what I mean? I've always thought, I don't see a point. And I always wondered why, right? I think, why? Where does this start in my head? Why did I want to not be razzmatazz or glamorous or make loads of money or live with the high and mighty, the rich folks up there, like, or go on New Faces as an impersonator? I could have like bluffed it and done loads of horrible, silly shows on television. And it'd have been like, I'd have been really embarrassed now. Say I did do that, exactly what my dad told me to do. There'd be all kinds of footage of me, like, like, as a kid with a dicky bow and out on TV going, doing voices now, looking like an absolute bellend. I'd a bit embarrassed. It's the same way in the band when we were getting the band together back in the 80s. You've seen the state of videos in the 80s. If we would have made it back then, and the record company would have said, we've got to make some videos, there'd be like embarrassing videos of us out there, like there are of other bands. So, I've done the right thing. Right? But the root of all my thoughts, why I didn't mind being a tramp, ask yourselves that question, guys. How many of you guys, I don't know many people who think like me. They all think like, want to make as much money as I can. I want to be, get a house, do this, do that. I want things to happen overnight. You know what I mean? I want to just like, it's got to be, I don't want to be a slave. Things work naturally. If something happens, you sell records, you sell a painting, something like that. I don't know. It's got to be arty. I wouldn't be an artist if I was just being an impersonator. I'd be a variety performer, right? But this is the route. This is it, man. See us book the Guinness Book of Records, right? And we still got this. This is old, man. I've had this in the family. We had this in the family since, I think it's 1975. That's all. I think it's the 1975 edition. Let's have a look. It's either 74 or 75. Oh no, sorry. It's 72. 1972, guys, right? So, I was born in 1964, and I assume we got this the year it was printed and the year it was released. Someone in the house bought it, my mum or dad, or one of my sisters, I'm not sure. And, when I was a kid, I used to pick this up endlessly and look at it and read it and open it. And, it's just the Guinness Book of Records, you know what I mean? And it'd be like things like this in it, like one of the most, I wanted to be a drummer when I was a nipper. I wanted to be a drummer, but I lived in a masonette, and my mum and dad couldn't buy drums because the neighbours would have complained, right? So that was gone straight away. I couldn't be a drummer, right? So that's another reason why I didn't really do. You can't do what you want to do. It's no point getting on with it, is it? And I don't mind doing 9 to 5 work and being a skivvy. I don't mind. You know what I mean? I've been a cleaner, I've been a labourer, I've done all kinds of things. I don't mind. I actually don't mind being a bum, if you know what I mean. But I just find a picture, like, there's one picture, for example, I used to stare at endlessly. Because, obvious reasons. Some guy who did the longest drum solo in the world at the time. Do you get me? Like, I was like obsessed with drum kits and things, right? 72. At that time, I was really just getting really heavily into Liverpool Football Club. You know, it was like we won the UEFA Cup, the years of Emlyn Hughes. You know, I shook hands with Emlyn Hughes, by the way, guys. I actually shook hands with Emlyn Hughes, the Liverpool. You know what his nickname was? Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse, Emlyn Hughes. I actually met him. Shook hands with him. See, Trevor Mitchell, who set the world drumming record with 170 hours, 7 days and 2 hours playing the drums. And that was just one song for Genesis. That's a joke. Alright, but anyway, this book, right, at the time, really interesting, you know, loads of, like, there's that Henry Moore there, mate. I don't know, I think it is. But, let's find the page that matters. Why Bruce didn't want to be wealthy. Why Bruce disappointed everyone. Girlfriends included, you know. Come on, Bruce, why aren't you sending demos to the record companies? Why aren't you? By the way, let's do a time check. It's 28 minutes past 9 on the 17th of August, 2023. I still haven't sworn either, have I? I've said bell end. Doing alright tonight, haven't I? Yeah, look at that, man, look. Like, it's weird, isn't it, look? Like, in this particular book, 1972, like, you know, they were brand new, mate. Isn't that mad? Looking at that now, you know what I mean? When I was a kid looking at that, I would never have thought, when I was, 72, was I 6 years old? No, 8 years old. About 8 years old when this was out. That's, you know, it's a ripe old age to sort of be inquisitive about the world, isn't it? What does that say? Let's see what the fascinating fact is about the World Trade Center. The world's tallest inhabited building with 110 stories, standing 1,353 feet tall. The Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, Manhattan, New York City. Bizarre, that, they were brand new then. You'd have thought they had just been taken down by planes and secretly Black Ops placed demolition crews inside. But let's get to the point of this speech that I want anyone to watch and think, if you've got a bit of aspiration or you feel like you should be too rich or minted, or you know what most like drug dealers are doing, or I don't know what, it's like this automated thought mode of like, I immediately want to be the richest man in town now. We don't think like that, you know what I mean? And this was it, mate. This is what did it for me. I'll show you. Hold on. Just hang on, like. This isn't live, by the way. This is a recording. Alright. Now. Wealth and poverty. The section in this book called Wealth and Poverty, right? And I'll read the caption. Richest billionaire, right? The richest man in the world at the time, right? At the 1972, the richest man in the world. I remember I was in a house. We were always skint. We were always looking for money. We were always, you know, we weren't loaded it often. You know what I mean? We could have been quite well off if my dad wasn't a gambler, but we didn't have a chance. They just couldn't save nothing. You know what I mean? But we were okay. You know, it wasn't like we were destitute. But anyway, richest billionaire, Daniel K. Ludwig, now recorded. Now, does anyone remember his name? Have you ever heard of Daniel K. Ludwig? I've never, you know, I wouldn't remember. He's not famous, obviously. I bet you don't remember. No, I bet no one watching this has any idea who he is. But at the time when this book was printed, he was the richest man, right? The richest, now regarded as the world's richest businessman, who pioneered ship welding, mammoth tankers, and who is the world's largest orange producer. Right? I mean, he's got his fingers in a lot of pies, hasn't he? And then next to it is what would they assume the world's poorest man, right? And it says, poorest one of the last 20 to 25 remaining Australian Aborigines, Pintibus, whose entire collective wealth will be valued at less than £5. Right. So side by side, when I was 8 years old, I looked at this picture and I used to think that this is the crucial decision. You and anyone around you go, you need to make money, you need to make money. I asked myself, who do I want to be out of these two, right? And I'll show you the pictures. You see how cheesy the millionaire look? Billionaire, you know. The orange producer, super tankers, whatever. I'm not having a go with him, not being like a personal attack, but you see how cheesy and stereotype he looks, right? And you see how cool the Aborigine looks. You know what I mean? He looks like a Rasta or something. He looks really cool, mate. He looks like a warrior, mate. Right. He's the poorest man in the world at the time, they reckon. He had a value of, what, the £5. The equivalent of having £5 is what he owned in 1972. And this guy's the richest billionaire in the world. Right. And even though the Aborigines like literally black skin, mate, right. I looked at this picture at 8 years old, mate. And I wanted to be him. You know what I mean? And it appears I've been striving to do that ever since, doesn't it? Like, I have made no attempt to be wealthy. I literally, I was like, I would rather be that. I think he looks cool, mate. That's what I thought even when I was 8 years old. I thought, wow, he looks cool, mate. He's got a bit more like suave. You know what I mean? Don't he? He looks like a warrior, mate. And Mr. Cheese looks like he's got like a prop holding his neck up so he can pose for the photograph or something. Like, he doesn't even look natural. He just looks like Mr. Cheese, doesn't he? And I actually seen that 8 years old, man. And look, I've kept this book ever since, right? And I found it a few months back in my brother's. I was digging through all the stuff, and I thought, I made up. I found it because I wanted to show the world that, like, why? I explain it. Everyone, all the girlfriends are let down. All of them, all three of them, like. All those women out there, why Bruce didn't get me? Be like, why are you so stubborn? Why don't you send your demos in? Why don't you trying to make some money and let's get rich and be like Hyacinth, Bouquet, and Richard? And in the back of my mind was that fella there, mate. How old is he there, man? He's a warrior, mate. He's probably a chief or tribal chief or something. He's an Aboriginal chief. I think he looked cool, mate. And even at 8 years old, I didn't want to be the cheesy man, you know. I didn't want to be him. I wanted to be that fella there, mate. And although I've got white skin and I have a white world and whatever, I always had in the back of my mind, like, wow, there's people out there and they're older than me, the grown men, and they're at the end of their lives and all that, and they've got £5, the equivalent of £5 to the name. And that explains, that's always been in my subconscious, that. And I thought about it recently, you know what I mean? I thought, wow, hope I can find that book, that Guinness Book of Records book, because it's to show people the actual pictures that I used to look at when I was a kid. I used to read that book endlessly, just backwards and forwards, flipping through the pages, you know what I mean? Just one of them things, innit? So that explains it, right, guys. I didn't want to be Mr. Cheese. I wanted to be with the Aborigines. You know, I thought they looked cooler. I thought they looked great. Like when I was a kid, I used to see Indian chiefs on the telly, and you know, when they had like wrinkly skin and everything, and like proper real ones, not the guys the Hollywood men who they put makeup on and make them look Indian. I mean, like, you know, the ones you see in the films, they are proper Indian chief type people, and they've got like and I used to look at them and think, wow, Why did they look cooler than the Mr. Cheese, the plasticky? You know, it's just one of them things, man. It's how you end up when you're a pensioner. It's where you go when you're older, I suppose. What I always thought about. I always thought about getting older. And I want to be that Aborigine with £5 to his name. You get me? Like, I'm telling you, the potential is still there. I could seriously I just don't care about money. Right? And no one wealthy has ever tried to help me an offer like that. I've never had any sort of, donations or anything. I don't really care. You know what I mean? As long as I'm happy, got food on the table, I can sleep. Got a cup of green tea. I'll buy some beers if I need them. You know. But I hope that's a little bit of a lesson to you guys. It's always been in my head since I was 8 years old. And I never sort of said that. I didn't sort of go, my dad say, why don't you try when you want to make money? Why don't you do some impersonations and try and make some money? I couldn't go, because I want to be that Aborigine, not that Mr. Cheese. But when you're in school and the teacher's saying, why are you doing your homework? If you don't, you won't get a good job and you won't get loads of money. Because I want to be that Aborigine, not Mr. Cheese, you know what I mean? I think it's, it's more honourable to be poor than it is to be wealthy. If you become wealthy by accident because you're talented, and something happens where you just cannot help being wealthy, the popular demand happens, and you actually, you get rich quick, what they call a get rich quick scheme, or rags to riches. That's the way I used to look at it. I'm not making like a slow slog trying to get rich to end up like Mr. Cheese. If something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the back of my mind, tell Hyacinth Bouquet, I want to end up like that Aborigine, not Mr. Cheese. Right. It's quite boring. It's a crap speech, I know, but I just want you to know I've still got it. I've had it since I was 8 years old. And that's my influence in life, financially. Don't be a billionaire. We are mingers, not blingers. That's a motto from my world. Mingers, not blingers. Because, if you're like a skunk, you're not many people come near me. I try and be. I'm not antisocial. I just don't mind being on my own. I think it's quite cool. Alright. That's the original picture there. You can have a look at yourselves and see what you think. I made my mind up when I was 8. See you round. Thanks for watching. Donation to PayPal. If people are inquisitive and they want to send money to me, put it in the comments and say, what's your PayPal link, man? If one person asks me, I won't tell them. If 100 people come on and go, what's your PayPal link? And you can put, might be able to raise £5. If say 5 of my subbers send me £1, or 500 of my subbers, I'm nearly 500 subbers, guys. I'm 400 and something. If 500 of you all sent me a penny, that'd be £5, wouldn't it? I'd be as rich and as well off as that Aborigine, and be satisfied, and I can retire with that £5. So thanks for watching, everyone. See you later.